Last time we went over the more famous tale of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and promising another one not related to the event of the story, but had another single dwarf, and a tale the brothers Grimm called Snow White and Rosered, based on a story that was known as the Ungrateful Dwarf.
Dwarves, the staple of fantasy, so much that our beloved, gruff, stout grandpas are seen by the younger generation as stale and boring. Well, you either lack imagination or are misinformed, my friend. Be prepared to walk the fairy roads and meet the many dwarfs that have been spawned by the scribes of fantasy.
The fairy tale starts in a household of a poor widow. She had two daughters, who she loved dear. The eldest was named Rosered, an outverted girl with healthy reddish cheeks and reddish hair. She was named Rose Red. She loved to be outside and could be quite a tomboy. The youngest, however, was happiest inside, helping her mother with the house chores, and loved reading as well, which, bring, which brings the poor widow into question, isn't it? Due to her lifestyle, the girl had a palish skin, as pale as snow in fact, and so she was named Snow White. Despite the difference in character, the two girls' relationship was good. That was even so on a fateful winter evening. And what was happening on that evening, you say? Nothing much for a fairy tale. A bear requested to come inside their hut. It was cold outside, and only requested to warm itself at the fireplace. After the bear promised not to hurt them or their mother, he was allowed in and warmed himself at the fire, while the girls brushed the snow from his pelt. When the morning came, the bear left only to return that evening once again. It began with Snow White reading the bear a story when he snoozed. And as the two girls started their friendship with the bear, their interaction with them changed quickly into play and roughhousing. This quite worried the mother, I'm sure. This went all winter, and when spring came, the bear bid them farewell, saying that they had business to attend to. Spring went on, and as the two girls were harvesting in the forest, they discovered a dwarf with his beard locked into a log of wood. And maybe a bit overzealous, the girls cut the dwarf free. His beautiful beard, he cried, and went on a tirade how worthless the girls were. Okay, maybe Snow White cut off more from his beard than it needed to, but there was no reason to be unthankful for their help. What a grouch. It appears not to be his lucky day, as once again the dwarf cried for help. This time he was dragged by his beard in the air by a hawk. Snow White, always the more caring of the two, acted fast and threw rocks at the bird of prey. And because the girl was so caring, her aim was way off, not wishing to hurt either of them. Rose Red, however, had no such claim, and the stone nearly hit the hawk, and in fright dropped the dwarf. His fall was cushioned by branches of the tree, with only damage to his clothing and his beard. The two girls saw the disgust in his eyes, and slowly backed away. This was not the last time the two sisters encountered the dwarf. This time he was assaulted by a creature in the nearby river, and once more he was saved by the two and proved yet again unthankful. On a later date, the girls heard a loud growl, and as it grew louder, the dwarf came into view. This time, he was chased by the bear. And this time the girls were outclassed, and made no attempt to rescue the dwarf. The dwarf begged for his life, and even offered to do girls in exchange for his life, only to be teared limb from limb by the animal. And I really wish the story would have ended here, with the bear looking thankful to the two sisters and wandered off out of sight. What happened, however, was that the bear turned into what most stories claimed was a prince. In fact, the hawk and the creature in the lake changed into princes as well. To make it even more convenient, the three were brothers. As it went on, the sisters learned that the three were cursed by the dwarf after they tried to steal his treasures. These three were no princes. No, they were common ducks. No wonder the dwarf was no wonder the dwarf no wonder the dwarf was distrustful. Snowhite and Rosered likely helped common ducks to break the seal that removed the curse. That was their just reward. Carry on. The five of them found the dwarf's treasure, and that allowed them to be well off for the rest of their lives. As the three brothers felt indebted to the sisters, so instead of slitting their slender necks, they asked for their hand in marriage. The bear married Snow White as soon as he came to age, while the hawk, impressed with her aim, married Rosered, and they lived a long and wealthy life. There are plenty more fairy tales that lay the groundwork on how dwarfs are portrayed, but next time we're leaving the fairy tales behind and focus on another tales settled in mythology, where the smithing becomes a staple of their image. Hammer down.